Do you practice meditation?
I meditate, you know, but I went to Thailand a couple of years ago. There was a time in my life where things weren't going right, physically and spiritually. And I just pinged off a few emails, and a couple of weeks later, I found myself in Thailand, working in a wellness center. To cut a long story short, it was life-changing. And I learned about, the yogi lifestyle, you know, some good things about yoga, but there are some dark sides to it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, there are dark sides to it because it comes from pagan worship, yoga. Yeah. So any Muslims out there that want to understand or utilize yoga in their lifestyles, there are good things about yoga, but there are some dark aspects that you need to learn because it comes from Hinduism, it comes from a pagan worship. Yeah. You know, so it's very cultish. Yeah. And that's something I recognized when I was in Thailand. That's the reason why I left. Yeah. Because I went there wanting to stay long term. And I could have. I had a job, I had somewhere to live, I had a salary. But I left because I felt a really dark energy surrounding me. So I got the hell out of there.
I mean, I know people who practice yoga, non-Muslim. Yeah. And I know the kind of things that are said and stuff before you start. Yeah. And if you are ignorant to the bigger picture, you can almost think, okay, fine, you're just going along with the tradition, but no, real talk, you're falling into the biggest sins. You're calling upon the shaitan. You're asking the shaitan, can I be in your space? Like, it's the deadliest sin. SubhanAllah, I've had people tell me some things about yoga. So that's why I ask you, and also with meditation, bro, because that's something that when I first discovered spirituality, meditating was what I was doing. It's not something I practice anymore, but I'm sure you know, you can meditate, but there's also like you got to be careful because that can lead you to many different. Well,
just hand signals and positions, and the yogi, it comes from a satanic cultish worship. It's pagan, and it's ancient. Yeah. So you got to be very careful when you start practicing yoga. And we live in an enlightenment period now. You're seeing yoga being pushed in the mainstream, and Muslim brothers and sisters need to be careful not to fall into the trap, because the devil will come through and say yoga is good for your health, it's good for your mind, but at the same time these practices can invoke shirk if you're not aware. And I didn't have any knowledge of this, but my soul didn't feel right when I was in Thailand.
It's a beautiful thing Allah gave us, isn't it? The fitrah, where sometimes we can't put our finger on it, but something doesn't sit right with us, and we're able to use that. How often do we all say, you know, I have a gut feeling about this, and then when it happens, you say, oh, my gut feeling was right?
Were you saying that you felt maybe like you had the shayateen around? Like
Well, I knew that I had to go to Thailand, and for the first time, my father didn't want me to leave. He was really against it because it was far away, and it just came out of nowhere. I was like, I'm going, you know, and you can't stop me. In a nice way, I wanted to get my parents' permission, because I valued him so much. And in the end, I got their permission, alhamdulillah. But it was tough breaking that barrier. Like, listen, I got to go. There's a calling, and I can feel it. And you don't know what's going on here and here, but I know, so I need to go. Yeah. And I went. Yeah. And alhamdulillah, I got their blessings, but I came back. But having gone for the period I went for a couple of months, I came back having fulfilled the feeling that I knew I had a calling for, if you know what I mean. When I came back, I knew there was a purpose, and coming back, I clocked that purpose when I was there. And every time anything happens in my life, I remember that moment where I was, because it was a dark place, you know, and to be surrounded by so many shayateen. It was a party island. You know, it was full of drugs. People practicing so much cultish stuff. You could feel it. And subhanallah, the energy in it, I used to play Surat al-Baqarah, and there was a shift. The paradigm shift was mad, because that was the only protection I had, was the word of Allah in a place where I knew nobody, I didn't know the language, and I didn't know people. I just took her suitcase and I left. And I wasn't afraid. I knew there was a calling. But at the same time, it made me clock this enlightenment period coming soon. Mainstream yoga, mainstream cultish pagan acts that we need to be careful not to fall into as Muslims.
Because it's almost trendy to do yoga now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's trendy. Yeah, it's great.
And it's like,
just like being a vegan is trendy.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course. But there's a yoga studio just opened up down the road from my shop. I walk past it to go to the masjid.
Yeah.
And like every single time I walk past it, I see like something. I just see shirk everywhere, bruv. It's like not even like scary, man, because everyone. It's cool to do it now. I want to be like. I want to be spiritual. I want to do yoga. I want to be vegan. I want to be vegetarian. This is mainstream. This is what cool people.
It's building ego.
Yeah.
It's doing what it shouldn't do.
Yeah. Of course, exactly.
100%.
It's building ego. 100%. It's meant spirituality should destroy ego. The new spiritual age is building ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've clocked this from just being part of it. And meditation, the best meditation we can perform is reading Quran and dhikr of Allah. You can meditate on that. And spiritual masters meditate on that stuff. Muslim spiritual masters can get in states of dhikr where they forget the physical, they're in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just flying around. So you can meditate in a halal way.
Yeah.
But that can only come from the word of Allah.
For sure.
You know, that's what I've discovered anyway. I could be wrong, and there might be more to it.
Yeah.